Wallace Jackovich sails through the majestic Sea of Mamaryth to the new Boundless World, bidding farewell to his old life as a young con artist. As he settles down to mend the bones of werewolves and brew potions to heal the twitching eye ailment of elves, and tinkers with the network of blood vessels in mythical creatures at Crissaven Sanatorium, a mysterious massacre in Reolan City turns his life upside down. Confronted with a deadly infection that dissolves the victim's bones and flesh, Wallace is determined to find a cure. The massacre reveals a dark and malevolent power that controls an army forged from death using diabolical forces. Compelled to confront this dark power to save his homeland, Wallace must fight evil with evil. He embarks on a journey with his friends to the most notorious place, a haven for only the most condemned who have committed unspeakable acts, to mythical realms that do not exist on the map, to acquire forbidden knowledge. "We need to reach the harbor," Scott replied, raising his tankard in thanks and taking a hearty swig. The old man nodded. The tavern now lay almost deserted, save for their table, and another occupied by a group of 5 burly men, boisterously indulging in their crude banter. Many have ventured into the decaying cavern, lured by the promise of swift and ample riches. This lawless domain, perched on the borderlands, allows a free rein for trade in any wares, unhindered by personal justice or law. Yet, this freedom is a two-edged blade. One could easily forfeit their life in this lawless, shadowed domain, cautioned the tavern keeper, his eyes bearing a somber warning. Wallace quietly sipped his beer. The moon appeared to swell and radiate a brighter glow in tandem with the crescendo of their chants. "This is impossible," Wallace thought, just as Wallace was overcome by a disorienting wave, likely induced by the undulating moonlight. A wisp of smoke began to rise from the gunny sack. Then, one of them untied it. His heart pounded furiously. His throat parched, as if he had not tasted water for days. Wallace's gaze remained fixed on the slackening gunny sack. And as he suspected, Kia was extracted from the sack, as though he bore no weight at all. The ease with which they removed him mirrored the effortless retrieval of a purse from its confines. "Is this the Ira compass?" Wallace pointed towards the compass, attempting to bridge a connection and earn more of Gale's trust. Gale stared at them incredulously, the knife wavering mid-air, as if the question posed a greater threat than the presence of the 3 strangers. "You lied. You're after the Ira compass. What's your intention?" Wallace lowered his outstretched palms, as though trying to calm an enraged beast. "No, you've misunderstood. I merely overheard those men who deceived you. They mocked the compass and ridiculed your belief in it." Wallace began to discern that Gale might either feign ignorance or genuinely lack deeper thought, reacting promptly to every question posed. As expected, Gale scoffed, annoyance etched on his face. "They know little about the compass. This compass." As the minor clashes subsided, a familiar, resounding squeal shattered the mounting tension. Wallace realized he was drenched in sweat as a colossal shadow flew overhead. The griffin paused behind them, its sharp eyes meeting Wallace's. Moncton wiped a thin sheen of sweat from his forehead before turning towards the griffin. "Time for a break. I need moments to strategize for a counterattack. It's a grim and unpleasant day," his voice gruff and deep. The griffin appeared attuned to Moncton's mood, letting out another piercing shriek and slowly extending its colossal wing for them to pass through onto its back. Wallace stole a final glance at the battlefield before the griffin soared into the sky. Moncton remained silent, lost in contemplation, since they mounted the griffin.